a steamy bathroom in a Chicago suburb late at night.
A mother stands before the mirror, taking off the day.
The heavy glass jar of Pond's cold cream meets the white porcelain sink with a sharp metallic clink.
The air smells of warm water and faint, powdery rose. Under the dim yellow glow of a single incandescent bulb, her fingers move upward in slow, disciplined strokes. But the strange part is this. Nothing on that counter looked expensive.
She owned exactly 3 products. The entire collection cost less than $2.
And yet, at 50 years old, her skin possessed a quiet, radiant strength that modern women chasing exhausted, 12-step chemical routines can only dream of.
The secret was not hidden in a laboratory.
It was in her hands.
These are 20 unspoken skincare secrets from the 1950s that the beauty industry hopes you forget. Now, before we dive in, tap that subscribe button. You will not want to miss what is coming next.
When did taking care of our skin become a stressful, 12-step chemical experiment?
If you look inside a modern bathroom cabinet today, it often resembles a pharmacy. But back in the 1950s, women relied on a fraction of the products, yet their skin remained incredibly clear and resilient. Did these old-fashioned habits disappear because they stopped working?
No.
They vanished because you cannot put a price tag on a habit. The old way was not always primitive. Sometimes it was simply too efficient to sell.
As we count down these 20 unspoken secrets, pay close attention.
By the time we reach number 1, you will realize this is no longer just about skincare. It is about a lost form of discipline and self-reliance that modern products can never replace. And the countdown starts exactly where most mornings used to begin, at the porcelain sink.
Number 20. The 30 cold water splashes.
Before the coffee was even brewing, a 1950s woman stood at the sink and splashed freezing tap water onto her face 30 times. Not 10, not 20.
30.
You could hear the rhythmic splashing, the sharp intake of breath, water dripping from her chin. The extreme cold constricted blood vessels, reduced morning puffiness, and tightened pores instantly. Today, modern consumers spend $50 on glass cooling globes or caffeine serums to wake up their skin. Back then, women used free water from the faucet. It was a wake-up call for the skin that did not cost a dime.
Number 19. Witch. Hazel as the only toner.
After the water came the distinct, earthy, slightly medicinal scent of witch hazel. Poured onto a simple cotton pad, it was swept across the forehead and cheeks. It left a brief, cooling evaporation behind. Brands like Thayer's cost pennies at the local pharmacy. It gently cleansed and balanced the skin's pH without stripping it. Today, toners are often packed with harsh industrial alcohols and aggressive peeling acids that destroy the skin barrier. Women in the 1950s respected their skin's natural balance instead of fighting a daily war against it.
Number 18. The anti-gravity massage. You never, ever dragged your skin downward. Whenever a 1950s woman applied her cream, her fingers moved in firm, rhythmic, upward strokes along the jawline and neck.
It was a mechanical lifting technique repeated every single night.
You could feel the heavy slip of the cream, the intentional pressure of the fingertips working against gravity.
Modern women spend thousands on Botox injections or electronic microcurrent devices to freeze or shock their muscles. In the mid-century, gravity was fought with daily intentional patience, not a syringe.
Number 17. Tissuing off cold cream, not washing.
At night, makeup was dissolved with a thick, heavy coat of Pond's cold cream.
But here is the secret. They did not wash it off with water. They wiped it away with a soft tissue.
The gentle rustle of the Kleenex took away the dirt but left a microscopic, protective film of moisture behind. Modern foaming cleansers strip the face squeaky clean, completely ruining the acid mantle, requiring women to buy 5 different serums just to fix the dryness they'd just caused. The older generation knew that squeaky clean meant damaged, not pure.
Number 16. Vaseline under the eyes.
Long before slugging became a modern internet trend, a tiny jar of petroleum jelly sat in the medicine cabinet as the ultimate winter armor. Before turning off the bedside lamp, a woman would tap a sheer layer of Vaseline under her eyes. It had a thick, unyielding texture that caught the dim light. It trapped the skin's natural moisture and prevented fine lines from forming in the dry, heated air. Today, people buy $60 eye creams in tiny jars that do half the job. It was not an exotic formula. It was just common sense working through the night. Notice what these first 5 had in common. Not a single one required a prescription, a laboratory, or a monthly subscription. They relied on movement, temperature, and basic chemistry. What disappeared was not the result. It was the knowledge around it. The industry did not replace these tricks because they failed. It replaced them because it could not bottle a habit. But the next group of tricks moved away from just movement and into the careful selection of what actually touched the face.
Number 15. Castor oil on lashes and brows.
The small amber bottle of castor oil sat quietly in the medicine cabinet. Instead of throwing away an empty mascara wand, a 1950s woman washed it clean and dipped it into this thick, golden liquid. She combed it through her lashes and brows right before bed. You could feel the heavy, sticky slickness of the oil coating every single hair, conditioning them naturally overnight. Today, women risk eye irritation using $80 chemical serums just to force hair growth. Grandma's secret was a simple, single-ingredient oil that lasted an entire year and cost next to nothing. Number 14. Sleeping on smooth pillowcases. Skincare did not stop when the lights went out. The older generation understood passive anti-aging. They paid strict attention to what touched their faces in the dark. Whether it was tightly woven, freshly ironed cotton, or a smooth silk slip, the surface had to be pristine. You could feel the cool, frictionless glide of the fabric against the cheek. Modern consumers will smear on a $100 night cream only to press their faces into rough, abrasive synthetic sheets for 8 straight hours. Back then, protecting the skin meant controlling the environment it rested in. Number 13. The rosewater and glycerin mix. In many mid-century bathrooms, you would find a simple apothecary bottle containing a homemade mixture of rosewater and glycerin. Poured into the palm, it felt slightly tacky, smelling deeply of sweet floral gardens. When patted onto the face, that sticky glycerin grabbed moisture from the air and locked it into the skin. It was an unparalleled humectant. Decades later, the beauty industry repackaged this exact science, slapped a fancy hyaluronic acid label on it, and charged a massive premium for what used to be a kitchen table recipe. Number 12. Washing the face only once a day. A 1950s woman washed her face thoroughly at night with soap to remove the day's dirt and cold cream. But in the morning, she rarely touched soap again. She understood that the natural sebum produced overnight was the skin's best built-in moisturizer. Stripping it away twice a day was a recipe for premature aging. The skin was simply splashed with water and left alone to do its job. Modern routines demand aggressive morning cleansers, trapping women in a vicious cycle of drying their faces out and desperately trying to rehydrate them. Number 11. The dedicated soft washcloth. There was no need for plastic microbeads or aggressive chemical peels. Exfoliation was done with a dedicated, well-worn cotton washcloth. It was kept meticulously clean, dampened with warm water. As she rubbed it in gentle circles, the soft, damp friction of the woven threads buffed away dead skin without causing micro-tears. It was a tactile, intuitive process. She could feel exactly how much pressure was enough. And this is where the pattern starts to show. The beauty industry did not erase these methods because they were ineffective. It erased them because a washcloth and a bottle of glycerin do not run out fast enough. You cannot build a billion-dollar empire on women who only need to buy ingredients once a year. By this point, the countdown is no longer just about practical tips. The next few rules move deeper into the quiet, unspoken standards of how a woman carried herself through the world. Number 10. Oatmeal and honey paste.
When a sudden breakout or redness appeared, a 1950s woman did not rush to the drugstore for a harsh chemical spot treatment. She walked into her kitchen. She mixed raw oats with a spoonful of thick golden honey. You could feel the sticky, grainy paste as it was pressed onto the irritated skin, smelling of warm breakfast and earth. It calmed inflammation instantly without burning the top layer of the epidermis. Today, teenagers are sold aggressive acids that leave their faces red and peeling. The older generation used household intelligence to heal the skin, not punish it. Number 9. Pond's Vanishing Cream as primer. Before a single puff of powder touched her face, there was the ritual of Pond's Vanishing Cream. It had a distinct pearlescent sheen in the jar, but the moment it touched the skin, it lived up to its name. It vanished. It left behind a completely dry, matte finish. This was not just for aesthetics, it was a protective shield. It prevented colored makeup and environmental dirt from settling deep into the pores. Modern beauty aisles are flooded with expensive, pore-clogging silicone primers. Back then, preparing the skin was about protection, creating a barrier of pure respect between the woman and the outside world. Number 8. Never touching the face. This was not a product. It was a rule of iron discipline. A woman in the mid-century was taught from a young age never to rest her chin in her hands, never to pick at a blemish, and never to rub her eyes. You would see them sitting on buses or in waiting rooms, hands neatly folded in their laps or holding a purse. It required immense physical control. By keeping unwashed fingers away from her cheeks, she prevented the spread of bacteria entirely. Today, we buy expensive pimple patches to fix the damage caused by our own restless, anxious hands. For the 1950s, woman prevention was simply a matter of posture. Number 7. Facial tapping, the piano fingers. If you watched a woman apply her eye cream in the 1950s, you would not see aggressive rubbing. You would hear a soft, rapid, rhythmic sound, like rain against a window pane. It was the piano fingers technique. She used the delicate pads of her ring fingers to tap rapidly around the orbital bone and jawline. This stimulated the lymphatic system and drained excess fluid. Today, the market sells vibrating wands and heavy stone rollers to do the exact same thing. But the old way required nothing but a woman's own hands, stillness, and careful attention to her own body. Number 6. Milk wipes for brightening. To achieve a bright, even complexion, the secret was often sitting in the icebox. A cotton ball was dipped into cold, full-fat milk and swept across the face. You could feel the icy dampness, smelling faintly of sweet dairy. The natural lactic acid gently dissolved dead skin cells, while the milk fat provided deep nourishment. Modern skincare brands charge a fortune for AHA peeling solutions that often leave the face stinging and vulnerable. The 1950s woman brightened her skin with the same gentle ingredient she poured into her tea. The closer we get to number 1, the less this is about objects, and the more it is about identity. These were not just habits. They were quiet standards, repeated until they became character. And as we move into the final 5, the rules shift from solving problems to protecting dignity. Number 5. Castile soap for cleansing. If a 1950s woman did reach for soap, it was not the harsh, neon-colored liquid we see today. It was a solid, unpretentious bar of pure Castile soap, like Kirk's. You could smell the raw, earthy purity of coconut oil and clean linen, free of synthetic perfumes. When rubbed between wet hands, it created a dense, creamy lather rather than aggressive, stripping bubbles. It cleansed the skin without destroying the lipid barrier. Today, many modern foaming face washes share the exact same chemical detergents used in dish soap. The old way respected the skin's boundaries. The modern way strips them bare. Number 4. The blue tin Nivea armor. When the brutal winter winds began to howl, a familiar object appeared on the vanity. It was the iconic, heavy blue tin of Nivea cream. You could hear the satisfying metallic friction as the lid was pried off. Inside was a dense, unyielding, snow-white paste that smelled distinctively of lily of the valley and profound comfort. Women would smear a thick layer over their cheeks before stepping out into the cold, creating a physical shield against windburn. Today, skincare brands sell barrier repair creams for $50 a tube. Your grandmother achieved the exact same protection with a blue tin that cost less than a cup of coffee. Number 3. Protecting the neck and hands.
For the mid-century woman, skincare did not abruptly stop at the jawline. It was a fluid, automatic motion.
Whatever excess Pond's cold cream or glycerin remained on her fingertips was deliberately wiped onto the backs of her hands and swept down her collarbone. You could see the smooth, practiced motion of her wrists in the mirror. Today, we see a strange, modern phenomenon. Women with faces that look 30, attached to necks, and hands that look 60, because they only apply their expensive serums to their faces. The 1950s woman understood that true elegance required thoroughness.
The final rules were never just about the object. It was about what happened around it.
Number 2. A hat as the ultimate anti-aging.
Before chemical sunscreens became a sticky daily requirement, women practiced passive protection. They did not rely on a lotion to fight the sun. They relied on a shadow. You could see the wide, woven brim of a straw hat casting a cool, dark veil over the eyes and cheeks during a summer stroll.
They crossed the street to walk in the shade. It was a graceful avoidance.
Modern consumers bake in the sun, trusting a chemical layer to undo the damage. The older generation knew that the best way to fix sun damage was to simply never invite it in the first place. And now we reach the one that explains all the others.
Number 1 is the reason these habits still feel personal decades later. Number 1.
The discipline of product loyalty. The modern beauty industry survives on panic.
It needs you to feel a constant, anxious fear that you are missing out on the latest peptide, the newest acid, the miracle serum.
It forces you to change your routine every month. The 1950s woman did not panic. She found her cream when she was 20, and she used it until she was 80.
You would walk into her quiet bedroom, and there it was. The exact same heavy glass jar, sitting in the exact same spot on the vanity mirror, year after year.
A daughter standing in the hallway would watch her mother perform the exact same slow, upward massage every single night.
It was not a routine. It was an inheritance.
It was not vanity. It was armor. The jar did not change. The marketing did. Her loyalty to that one simple product gave her a deep, unshakable stillness. The object was small, but the lesson was not. She trusted herself more than she trusted an advertisement.
And that quiet consistency brings us to the real loss.
It was not just the cold cream that vanished.
These 20 unspoken secrets did not vanish because they failed.
They vanished because the modern world decided that patience was too slow and discipline was too cheap. We traded the quiet wisdom of our grandmothers for the loud promises of a plastic bottle.
What we lost was not just a beauty routine. We lost the stillness. We lost the knowledge passed from mother to daughter in the warm glow of a bathroom mirror.
But somewhere, a heavy glass jar is still sitting on a porcelain sink.
Somewhere, a daughter is watching from the doorway without knowing she is being taught. And without a word, the lesson begins again.
If you remember seeing any of these on your grandmother's vanity, share your memories in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and click the video on your screen to uncover more forgotten wisdom.
I will see you there.